Well, hello and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for TCCA 2020. This year is our 10th anniversary, and we're excited to have attendees from all over the world joining us for the conference this year. My name is Kimberly Aceto-Tannig, and I will be hosting this session. Before I get started, I want to go over a few items with you. If you have any comments or questions, please post them in the chat box. My co-host, Carrie, will be monitoring the chat and will provide for discussion at the end of the session. I will also give you the password that you're going to need to receive your certificate at the end of the session. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you our presenter today, Kim Strobel.
Thank you. I am happy to be here. I feel warmed up. I just finished the science happiness session, and so now we're going to go right into talking about how can we reimagine education, specifically with growth mindset and genius hour. But before I jump in there, I'm going to share my screen and tell you just a little bit about who I am. I am a former fourth grade teacher. That's where I spent most of my time. And then I'm a literacy coordinator, then a curriculum director. And then I had this wild and crazy idea that I would launch my own education consulting business. And so what I do now mostly is I travel across the country. I have a lot of keynotes, and then I do a lot of professional development for schools. And so growth mindset and genius hour are two topics that I absolutely love. I can't wait to give you an introduction to them. But yes, please. And hello, Iris. Hello, everyone. Tell me where you're coming in from. I'd love to just see in that little comments box before I start to share my screen so I can see there's live human beings there. And I want you just to tell me one thing that you feel that you are really doing a good job with right now. You know, I was kind of talking in my last session, educators, we don't always do a good job of extending any grace to ourselves. And I think it's really important that we do that. You know, it's really easy to always look at the lens of not doing well enough, you know, and it's very easy for us to feel like we are enough. And when we really look back and see, gosh, look at all of these hard things that I'm doing. So I just want to get you going in the chat box and just what's one thing you're doing really well right now when it comes to anything. It can be your life or it can be your teaching life. Erica says, my slides are there to teach. Good. Streaming. Oh, the streaming is breaking up. Gail said, that's not true for everyone. Creating relationships. Oh, wow. Yeah, Erica. And relationships are the foundation of what we do. And sometimes if you don't have bodies in there, now you're even working harder to make those connections with others. And so Jack said, good morning. I'm adapting and learning to thrive, not just survive. I love that. Last session, we talked about how we need to move our brains over to really be able to see challenge or see stress as a challenge, right? Because we're going to have stress in our life, but how can we not let it totally bring us down? And instead, how can we see it as a challenge, something that we know that we can achieve? Because educators do know how to do hard things. Let me share my screen and we'll just go right into this. All right, I love to collaborate. So it's like one of the things as a self to Twitter, I'll go straight to hear the chatter. I like you. I want to have a sense of connection with educators. Oh, what's resonating with you? What's good? Or what other questions do you have? And so these are two places that you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram. And that's one of the we've transitioned here to a lot of virtual stuff, and a lot of my keynotes gone virtual. And at first when it happened, I thought, gosh, I'm not on a stage. I don't feel the energy of the crowd. Like, how am I going to make this exchange of energy happen? People feel pizzazz in the excitement. And then what happened was I did my first virtual keynote in, I think it was April. And there was something magical happened, which was a chat box. So, when I normally, across the step on a stage, I give my 4 or 5 minute thing, and usually 15 minutes later, I'm out the door. I don't know if what I've said has resonated. And so like when you connect with me or you can get the chat box going, that's kind of magical, because before we didn't kind of get this mutual interaction during a presentation. And that's what the virtual presentations have done. It really makes me know where my audience is and they're feeling right now. So those places, connect with me, and then I hope you light up the chats, because I always like stopping screen share and popping up there to see resonating. So here's what we know. I have studied a lot under Dr. Carol Dweck, and of course she wrote the book Mindset. And she said that studies show that teaching people to have a growth mindset encourages a focus on effort rather than on intelligence or talents, helps make them into high achievers in school and in life. Now, what I really want you to pay attention to there is the word effort. This, we've all been trained. We've all been trained in praising intelligence, right? I mean, I've done this with my own children. I did it with my, good job, you got an A. I'm so proud of you. You're such a strong math student. Wow, you're a great basketball player, or you're a great artist. These are the things that we naturally do when we praise kids. And thought we were doing was building their self-esteem. But what I actually know is that does not work. It actually kind of makes them slaves of praise. And so what we know from the latest research here in the last 10 or 15 years is, if we want to encourage students to have a growth mindset, we have to shift our focus to the effort, to the fact that they're choosing to do hard things. They have perseverance. They don't give up when things get hard. They work to overcome obstacles rather than praise their intelligence, praising their skill set. And so when we can shift that focus, it really is going to help make them high achievers in school and also in life. Now, let's talk about the two mindsets. So maybe you've heard about them and maybe you haven't. And I want to explain that a mindset is it's a particular way of viewing things. It's a perception that you have about your skills, your talents, your intelligence, or an experience that you're having. And all of us, even adults, we are all a mixture of the fixed growth mindset. There are some things in our life that we have a fixed mindset about, and we have a growth mindset about other things. So let me explain what a fixed mindset is. A fixed mindset is when you believe that your skills and intelligence are carved in stone, and you really don't believe that you have the capacity to develop them or cultivate or improve them, right? You're born with a certain aptitude or a certain skill set, intelligence, and there's really not much you can do to change them. And to be honest with all of you, this is how we were schooled, right? I mean, I remember even as a teacher, and again, I always tell people I'm a truth teller. There are some kids that come from certain families, and I just want to be a strong academic student, because we know there's a genetic tendency toward everything from this kind of mathematical intelligence to creative intelligence to athletic skills, artistic skills, musical skills, empathy skills. Like, there is a genetic tendency. I'm not denying that, right? Some people whose parents were, extremely mathematical, extremely academic nature, most likely they might be academically natured. The problem lies in not understanding we have the ability to grow and change those things that don't naturally come easily to us. Now, I am an example of an area in my life that I have had a very fixed mindset about. Runner. If you haven't been able to tell from just this presentation, I move fast, I talk fast, I'm this ball of energy. And I run on average 35 to 40 miles a week. To be honest, it's probably what keeps me sane. I married a laid back who, I think it's him 5 seconds to even answer a question sometimes I ask him. And they Scott will be like, you need to get your run in. Like, you need to get that out. But this runner, this athlete. I've always been a runner, but I have a fixed mindset around my ability to eat healthy. I've had this for years. I have tried to cut out sugar, cut out carbs, or eat healthy. And it is a struggle. I mean, I'm a girl who eats 4 Hostess cupcakes every before she goes to bed. And so I have a set of girlfriends who the last years, they're cut sugar out and they have some crazy app that they check all their calories in. And I deleted it by 1 p.m. because I exceeded my calorie intake. And so really something in that for many years has felt like I don't have this. Like I am missing. I don't have willpower. I keep yelling at this. I just don't have what it takes. Okay? That fixed mind. And now I'll tell y'all, I've made progress because I started changing myself. I started trying to transition to a mindset around this. I don't lie to people. I'm not a total healthy eater yet. That is the magical word, yet. But I am working on it. How am I working? Well, my goal with my health coach used to be that I would eat 1 piece of fruit a month. Now, I know some of you are thinking, this sounds like crazy behavior. You seriously did 1 piece of fruit per month and you made a health goal with a health coach. That was it. I didn't eat 1 piece of fruit a year, okay? And so little by little, I worked on the fact that I eat fruit. I'm working on eating healthy. I'm changing my belief system. Now, I will tell you, I now eat fruit about 3 times a week, okay? Am I good at this? Absolutely not. Am transitioning out of a fixed mindset, trying to transition to a growth mindset, trying to understand that it's really about me cultivating my ability to improve myself in this area. Now, I want some of you right now in the chat box, what's an area in your life that you've had a fixed mindset? Because I tell you, your students are full of fixed mindsets. They say things like, well, my mom wasn't good at math, so I'll never be good at math. Or my parents never made anything of themselves, so I'll never make anything of them myself. Or I'm not creative, or I'm not a good cook, or I could never organize. For some of you, let me tell you where some came in with the fixed mindset. I got you right here. Listen to this. When I said to you that I run 35 a week, some of you had the very next thought, which was, I could never be a runner. And that is a fixed mindset. That is a false belief. I have seen people who were never athletes, who were extremely overweight, trained, and they couldn't run 1 block. They couldn't run, and they trained, and they did full marathons because it changed their belief system. So I'm actually going to stop my screen and I want to hop there in the box and I want to see what is an area in which you have a fixed mindset where you just kind of said, hey, I don't have these skills and I'll never have these skills. Or I want you to also in the chat box tell me about some of the fixed mindsets your students have. While I do that, I'm going to take a little break and have a drink. Taking the slow road to have students navigate schoolology. Okay. Public speaking. Yeah. Here's the deal. I'm the girl in her high school speech class. I shook so badly that I couldn't even read my little index cards. Now I do motivational speaking. That we do have the ability to grow. Even the public speaking. Erica says, I once thought I wasn't creative. Let's see. Oh, Cassandra, it looks like you might be having a little bit of trouble. I'm sorry speaking up for you. I want to know, where else do you have a fixed mindset in your life, or where are your students maybe currently having a fixed mindset? Okay, So while we're kind of waiting for some of those comments to come in, oh gosh, I see that is the internet connection is spotty. Seems to be improving. Gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there. We had no trouble with the earlier session. I hope it's getting better. My apologies. If need to, I always record this. I can pre-record it and send it to you all. It's very frustrating. This is really breaking up for you. My apologies. Okay, so now let's go back and let's talk about the growth mindset. So I'm going to share my screen again. And let's look at what growth mindset is like. The growth mindset means that you believe that your skills, things that can be developed, cultivated, and improved. That you do have the capacity to learn and grow. And that skills are built through effort. And everyone can change and grow. Here's what we know now we did not know about brain research years ago. We know that the brain is malleable. We know that the brain can grow skill set exponentially. You know, again, I look at how growth mindset has played out in my life. I'll tell you, again, you know, one of the areas I have a very growth mindset in is public speaking. If you were in the last session, you may have heard my story about how I am someone who suffered my life with a panic disorder, and has a very debilitating illness at times for me in life. And back in my sophomore year of high school, I was enduring panic attacks on top of the fear of public speaking in itself. You remember a 10-year-old girl who shook her like crazy, couldn't read her note card. And there's nobody at a high school speaking class that would be like, oh, Kim's going to go on to become, you know, a public speaker, and she's going to speak to thousands of people in an auditorium. No one would have thought that. The problem is that we tell ourselves there are certain things that we can't do, and that's a false belief. It really is, because we are capable of so much more, and have so many hidden gems inside of us that are just waiting for you to put some effort in that. And it's the same with our kids. We have to really explain this idea of what a fixed mindset is and what a growth mindset is for our kids, because our kids need a software update. You know, we've all had downloaded in us these beliefs, right? That, you know, if you're born smart, you're always going to be smart. We're never good at math. We're never going to be good at math. If you were an athlete, there's no way you could become a runner. We all have these beliefs. Our students have them. It comes from their own, you know, family members. It comes from their own society. It comes from their own community. And so what we really need to do is we need to explain, hey, this is the fixed mindset. We don't want you to feel bad about it, but we want you to understand and pinpoint areas in your life where you just kind of chalk that you're never going to be able to attain this. You're never going to be able to grow as a reader. You're never going to become a mathematician. Because only when we become aware of that with the students can we then teach them about the growth mindset. You know, and the growth mindset means that even though you might not be good at it yet, you can get better. It's going to take practice. You have to work harder than the other kids in the class, maybe on that particular skill. You're going to have to be perseverant. You're going to have to be frustrated and overcome obstacles. But if you're willing to put work in, know is that those skills can really be built. And so I would like for you to think, just to apply this in your own life, because when I'm teaching students, I give them examples in my own. Here's where, you know, Mrs. Strobel had a fixed mindset about certain things in her life. Here's where I had a growth about certain things in my life. So I'm going to pop over to the chat box, and I would love to know, what is something in your life that you weren't good at and you became better at? That's what I want. I love that, Leanne. Cultivation is the key. A flower cannot grow without water. Excellent. Excellent. Oh, Gail said, taking the slow road students navigate Schoology. Awesome. Iris says, growth mindset to adapt to continuous change. Let's be honest, teachers have a growth mindset when it comes to this profession. We are always being told, like, hey, now you need to do this. Now you need to teach science differently. Now you need to teach reading differently. Now you need to incorporate this. Teachers have not all, but most teachers had to have a growth mindset in order to survive, especially this year. I mean, think about the skill set that you did not have before COVID compared to the skill set that you now have. And you were forced to it, and you grew those parts of your brain. And so, yes, that's very good. Okay, so we go back, and I'm hoping that it's not breaking up anymore. My husband just said we had a really bad storm that came in about 15 minutes ago. So I'm wondering if that's what happened. It did something to the lines. Okay. Of course, that would happen in the middle of this presentation. So here's what we know. And this is from Carol. The view you got for yourself perfects the way you lead your life. And what you're really talking about there, my friends, is your belief systems. The belief systems that you adopt for yourself, the stories you tell yourself about what you can and cannot achieve. It's the same for your students. This profoundly affects the way you lead your life. And so I want to really talk to you about the power of beliefs, okay? Specifically, one study that was done. So this was a study that they did, and I always kind of laughed. It was 10 men. Sorry, guys. They took 10 men, and 10 men who had major knee problems, so much so they needed orthoscopic knees. And so what they did is all 10 men went into the hospital, and all 10 were put under anesthesia, and all 10 had the so-called knee surgery. And when they woke up, they had incisions on their knees and was wrapped, and all 10 men left the hospital on crutches. Okay? What's really interesting about this is 5 of those men never had knee surgery. They thought they did. Because they put those little incisions on their knee. Okay? And they were put under anesthesia. 5 of them never had it. 2 of them had full surgery, and 3 of them had the partial surgery. Yet, 6 weeks later, all 10 men reported that their knee pain had been reduced by 95%. And it was then that they told, guess what? You 5 never even had the surgery. This study, along with countless others, folks, shows us that the power of your beliefs, the beliefs that are driving your life, the beliefs that are driving your children and your students' lives, those are profoundly affecting the way you lead your life. We know that belief can be so strong that it can actually cause these physical healing mechanisms on the body, just like the knee surgery has demonstrated, because belief is a powerful thing that's driving your actions. Real quick, if you're in the last session, you heard me talk about how the average human being has 70,000 thoughts a day. 70,000. And the average human being, we know those thoughts are negative, which means most of you are having about 6,000 negative thoughts a day. What we also know from the research is that 95% of the 80% of negative thoughts that you're having on a daily basis are the exact same thoughts you had the day before. I will show you why this idea of the view your students adopt for themselves, beliefs that they're holding about themselves, beliefs that you are holding about yourself are holding back from achieving the kind of success you want to achieve in your life. And so when we look at this, we all have negative thoughts, right? I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough, smart enough, athletic enough, creative, talented. I'll never have money. That's a system that's driving some of us. I'll tell you what, if you have that belief system, you'll never have enough money because the belief system is driving everything you're doing. And so we'll have these thoughts, right? They bombard it. Students are having these thoughts. Here's what we know about thoughts. And you're going to want to take a picture of this. I think this is powerful for you to remember. The thoughts that are in your head, those become the words that are in your head, right? Those constant words that are running through the neural connection feedback loops of your brain. And what we know is those thoughts that become words, that those words then become your belief systems. You believe that about yourself. And your beliefs become the actions that you take, right? Your actions become your habits for life, and your habits become your reality. So let's put Kim Strobel's Hostess Cupcake fiasco through this, right? All right, my thoughts are, I'm not a healthy eater. I'll never be a healthy eater. All my girlfriends can do it, but I can't do it. I think something's wrong with me. I just don't have willpower. I'm not strong enough. All of those thoughts and the words that I say to myself become belief. And my belief is that I'll never be able to become a healthy eater. And those beliefs become my action, right? And my action are every 9 o'clock, I open up the cabinet door and I get 4 Hostess cupcakes out. And those actions become habits, which means my brain gets triggered every night now at 10 o'clock to go Hostess cupcakes, which becomes my new reality. And my new reality is I'm still not a healthy eater, right? If I want to go back to the fixed mindset, when I told you the miles that I run, you said, I'll never run or I never exercise. The thoughts that are driving your belief system. Your belief is, I don't have what it takes to become a runner, right? And those beliefs become your actions, which means you never walk into the health club, or you don't download the Couch to 5K plan, or you don't buy yourself a pair of tennis shoes and start out with walking, right? And those actions become your habits, and the habits become your reality, which is you're still not a runner. Now, not everybody needs to become a runner, but I'm just like, that's an example. That's something that you think, well, I'd like to do that, but I'd never do it. You're wrong, because your belief systems are driving that. The belief systems that our kids hold are driving this as well. They have downloaded a set of beliefs about what they're capable of. Many times it's wrong. And so it's up to us as educators to teach them the growth mindset and to really help them understand and kind of download like a software update in them. Something that hangs in my bathroom. Now he's 20 in college now, but I know the power of words, my friends. I know that what we say to ourselves matters, and what our students say to themselves matters. And so I did this manifesto for Spencer behind the toilet, because I was like, at least every morning it's up to go to the bathroom, it's sitting right there in front. But I asked to him about when he sees these words, feel these words, right? Today is going to be a good day. I am strong. I am courageous. I persevere through challenges. If I fall, I get back up. Mistakes help me learn. I can always improve. I am resilient and have grit. Now, I'd like to challenge you, because we're working on changing our mindsets with our students and really helping them understand that they have potential, even if there's things they're not good at yet. I would love for you to create a classroom manifesto, and maybe you recite this as an everyday. I am a learner and I'm always growing. No negative influence. I don't know what a manifesto needs to be. Create it with your class. But what I know is that words have power, because if we say words enough and repetitively enough, those become the beliefs that we hold about ourselves. And the beliefs that we hold about ourselves, those become the actions that we do or do not take. And those actions become our habits, and those habits become our reality. So here's what I want to know. I need to hear from all of you in the chat box. What are you thinking about this idea of growth mindset and how we can start to download new beliefs in our students? Love that, Chris. Good, Chris. She's going to adopt a new attitude when it comes to. And I'm going to tell you, Chris, it's going to feel really bad for a while. That's normal. I do 3-mile run at a time, and I'm just going to tell you the first mile or two still feels terrible. I'm still not convinced I'm going to make it, and I've been doing this for 15, 20 years. So you just need to know it takes a while to get acclimated, right, where it starts to feel good. Okay, so we've talked a lot about growth mindset. And, this is a topic that I full day topic that I teach. And I do have an online course for it as well, if there's schools or teachers that are interested, where we really show you how to teach the growth mindset students. Get pre-made lessons already, everything you need, training completely walks you through it. I just want you to understand, I'm just giving you a little intro, but this is really a full day topic, okay? All right. So, I'm glad. It says, love it, but we have to be willing to accept ourselves so that we can effectively share and transfer with students 100%. 100%. Talk about words and beliefs. I mean, science, you should be talking to your plants, that if you dispel positive words of encouragement to your plants, that they will actually begin to thrive. Why wouldn't we do this ourselves, my friends? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here in a minute, and I know time is getting short. I want to talk to you a little bit more about Genius Hour, okay? And I want to start here. Let's just share the screen. Okay. So, actually, I wanted to go there, and now I've decided I don't. I want to talk to you real quickly because I think that Genius Hour and growth mindset are kind of married together. So for those of you who have never heard the term Genius Hour, it really comes from Google. So years ago, Google gave their employees 20% of time to research, investigate, or spend time, really researching a topic that's of interest to them. Google even said, look, it doesn't have to follow your job description, but I want you to spend 20% of your work week researching and investigating a topic of interest to you. And they did ask that, keep the vision of the company in mind when you're choosing a topic. And what Google found out is when they gave their employees 20% of kind of like playtime to work on passion projects, that 80% of their best practice came from the 20% time they gave their employees to just kind of be in their creative genius. And this is actually, believe it or not, Gmail was born. Gmail passion project, someone at Google who said, I just really like the way interoffice email works. I think I can improve it. I want to work on it as my passion project. And that person worked on it for 2 years or so, presented it to the Google team, and the Google team took it, ran with it, and created what we now know is Gmail. So the way that I discovered Genius Hour is I was a curriculum director, and I walked into Abby's sophomore English language arts class. I was, doing an operation or whatever, teacher evaluation. But at the end of class, I asked Abby, hey, I'm just curious, why do you have a sewing machine at the front of your room? And she said, oh my gosh, Kim, I started doing this concept that I learned about called Genius Hour. And she said, I do it with every single period on Fridays. And on Fridays, every student gets that entire 45 minutes to work on a topic that they're interested in. And she said, I really would like you to come back on Fridays, because she said, I'm going to tell you, Kim, there's more learning taking place on Fridays when I let kids work on things they're interested in than the other 4 days of the week combined. And so I started going into Abby's class, and I saw that, one person had a fascination with genealogy. So every Friday he was tediously working for 12 weeks doing like a genealogy album for his mom. Another student had a young cousin who had benefited from Riley's Children's Hospital. So she was working on a dance-a-thon and doing announcements and fundraisers and getting everybody excited about this big event coming. Another person was very interested in website development. So they were working on a website that Aunt's Bakery was getting ready to launch. And as Abby and I went through that with those students what we observed was nothing short of phenomenal. The kids who, regardless, we know kids are usually in groups. I mean, it's sad to say, but the athletes hang out with the athletes, and the band people hang out with the band, and the creators hang out with the creators, and the ones that, dress in black all hang out together. And in the classroom, because students have the opportunity to shine in their own zone of genius, it's like they had this, there were no more wallflowers, there were no more groups, because they started to really shine and get validated for those things that they're really good at. Motivation levels skyrocketed. That was just amazing. And so once I saw that, I go around to schools teaching teachers how to implement a genius hour. And again, full day training, you go to strobeleducation.com, we have on there, but we walk you through the entire process of how to launch this in your classroom, because they'll tell you at elementary, middle, high school level, it's amazing. And so I'm going to share your screen. I'm going to give you one reason why I'm so excited about you learning about this concept. Okay, so this is one of the many lessons that I will actually do with my students. And so I explained, we all have a brain, and we have 2 hemispheres. We have the left hemisphere and we have the right hemisphere. And the hemispheres all have different skills, different talents, abilities. And so the left side of the brain is really part of the brain that's very academic, right? It's you are really good at school. Your left brain is firing like crazy, right? You're really good at math. You like following sequences. The left brain thinks in facts. The left side of the brain is all about reading, memorizing, understanding, regurgitating information. It's about language skills. It's about computation. So if you're somebody who's really good at math, you're really great at reading and writing and communicating, that's the left side of the brain that's up, right? But the right side of the brain, my friends, is no important. The right side of the brain has a set of skills that might even disappear, believe it or not, the left side of the brain. The right side of the brain is about creativity. It's about imagination. It's about the ability to see live random and see how they fit. It's about arts, visualization, daydreaming. It's about feelings and empathy. If you're my husband, he's a total right brainer. He's a graphic design artist. It amazes me in design signs and all of that stuff. My brain doesn't work like that very well, And so the right side of the brain is super important. But if I were to ask you all, what percentage of the day do kids get to spend doing left brain activities? And what percentage of the day do they spend doing right? Because most of us would say it's about 90-10. Because unfortunately, in the traditional model of schooling that most are still in, we have killed creativity. We have said with state testing that the right side of the brain doesn't matter. We're just interested in these skills here on the left side of the brain, because that's going to create a successful human being. But this is where we're wrong, folks. What we actually know is that we need to be growing all of these skills. And IQ is only responsible. Daniel Goleman was less than Sean Aker. Daniel Goleman says IQ is responsible for 4 to 10% of a person's career success. But yet we spend all of our time on IQ left brain types of things. And so with Genius Hour, folks, what this allows is it allows at least one 45-minute period a week where all kids get to feel recognized for their intelligence. I think that too many kids are leaving our schools and what they're good at is not valued in school. They have smarts and intelligence are different. I went to school with a guy who barely graduated. He wasn't a great reader. He wasn't a great mathematician. He knew basic computation, but he was one of these guys that could put together and build and fix anything. Fast forward 25 years later, and Josh runs a $1 million electrical and solar panel company. So many kids are going through our school system that are feeling like they don't match up to other kids because their brain doesn't think that way. I'm really about that there's many, many, many different ways to be intelligent. Now, I know I'm at the 5-minute mark. I'm going to leave you with this Genius Hour. Testers and measures of achievement can tell you where a student is, but don't tell you where a student can end up. We have to do a better job of making sure that all learning styles and all types of intelligence are really honored in our school system. And I believe that Genius Hour does that. So again, these topics, growth mindset and Genius Hour. A lot of times when I do trainings, we do a full day of growth mindset and a full day of Genius Hour, and they just mesh together. I hope at least I've kind of lit a fire in you to do your own research on this, or you can go to strobeleducation.com and check out our online courses. But I'm going to open it up for some Q&A because I didn't do that at the last session. Oh, I think you're muted, Kimberly.
Thanks. I did that last time too. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box. I do want to share with you that our secret word for this session is inspire. It is case sensitive, so you will want to make sure that the I in inspire is capitalized.
Kimberly, how much of that presentation was broken up?
It was broken up pretty consistently the whole time. In the middle, it cleared up some.
What we can do is I can do it. Would it be possible maybe to do like a pre-recorded version of this and get that loaded, or is there a time period?
We could do that, yeah.
Do I need to have that to you within a certain time, or
no? Just when you can.
We'll do
we
that.
Can add it back into the channel. Yeah.
That's so frustrating. I'm so sorry.
Well, no, 2020. We just keep rolling with our challenges.
I know. Thank you, Chris and Leanne. I appreciate that. Yeah, go for it, Leanne. Do some research. It's a phenomenal idea, and it's a place where all students really get to feel like they have value within the classroom.
Well, I am going to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Kim, for sharing this information with us today. We really appreciate you joining us. Attendees, please remember that we do have new sessions starting every hour, so make sure you check out the schedule at TCCA's website. And you can join those sessions by clicking on those live stream buttons inside each session info. We also have those vendor-led sessions, so be sure to visit with them because they are the ones that make this possible. You will be receiving your certificate in your email at the end of each session. And remember, the password for this one is INSPIRE. Thank you all for attending. We really appreciate it. And Kim, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all.